Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. An armed fugitive who led authorities on a 5-hour manhunt through East Missoula this week tells authorities he wanted to die by cop but couldn't find the courage to follow through.
35-year-old William Billy Newhoff appeared in Missoula Justice Court this afternoon charged with 5 felonies, including theft, criminal endangerment, criminal mischief, and burglary. It started just after 9:30 in the morning Tuesday when the U.S. Marshals and deputies tried to arrest Newhoff, who was wanted on an outstanding federal warrant for absconding. Newhoff fled from the Aspen Motel in East Missoula, stole a vehicle, led authorities on a brief chase, damaged a house on Dakota Street, then crashed the truck into a tree on Speedway. Newhoff told authorities after he crashed his truck, he ran looking for a place to hide, and he found an open door on a trailer. Officers found Newhoff nearly 4 hours later in the 500 block of Speedway Loop holding a pistol. The corporal pointed his weapon at Newhoff and commanded him to show his hands. Now, Newhoff initially ignored those orders but later dropped the gun to the floor. Authorities directed Newhoff to step out of the doorway, but he refused, saying, "Just shoot me." Officers were able to detain Newhoff and take him into custody. His bail today was set at $150,000.
Former Vans CEO George Manlove is asking for his conviction on more than 100 counts in a federal fraud case to be overturned, arguing he was denied a fair trial because of prosecutors' questions. Manlove was convicted last year on 170 counts after the trial in U.S. District Court in Missoula. He was implicated on charges of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars through fraud, money laundering, and other crimes while he was the CEO of the Missoula-based retailer. The company would eventually file for bankruptcy. Now Manlove's attorney is taking the case to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, arguing prosecutors were allowed to use calculated, sustained, and improper use of leading questions during the trial, especially with co-defendant Paul Nesbitt on the stand. Defense attorney Daniel Donovan complains that prevented the defense team from weighing the credibility of Nesbitt's testimony against Manlove. Manlove has been serving a 5-year sentence that started last summer.
It will be up to a Missoula jail staff to decide if 2 homicide suspects can use the jail's law library. That order by Missoula District Court Judge James Wheelis applies to Tiffany Pierce and Augustus Standing Rock. They've both been charged with the murder and dismemberment of 2 people at a Strand Avenue home last summer. The use of the law library was debated by the Missoula County Attorney and Pierce's attorney this fall after Pierce requested the use of one of the computers in that law library. County Attorney Kirsten Papps opposed the request and filed a motion to also limit Standing Rock's access to that computer. She listed their threatening behavior to jail staff and access to an attorney as reasons for this denial. Judge Wheelis says in light of Pierce's and Standing Rock's behavior while in custody, detention center staff have acted reasonably in restricting their access to that library. Also during a hearing on Monday, Pierce pleaded not guilty to attempted murder and assault with a weapon. These charges come from a July incident where Pierce is accused of breaking into a home on Montana Street where she's accused of stabbing a woman there.
A Lewis and Clark County judge sets bond at $500,000 for a suspect in a Bozeman stabbing case.
20-year-old Jonathan Meyer appeared in Justice Court in Helena via video this afternoon. Now, according to Gallatin County charging documents, the victim had been stabbed multiple times around his heart. This was an attack that happened outside his apartment back on January 19th. During the investigation, detectives interviewed the victim's girlfriend, the woman who lived with her ex, Jonathan Meyer. Police determined Meyer was a suspect following multiple interviews. Meyer refused to submit a DNA sample and told officers he had recently disabled the location services on his cell phone. But dash cam footage from responding officers also showed a car matching the one driven by Meyer and a man matching his build about 1.5 miles from the crime scene. Detectives also reported finding incriminating searches on Meyer's phone, including one on how to clean blood off a knife. If convicted, he faces a maximum 100 years in prison. Turning now to weather, expect snow in western Montana overnight. We do have new winter weather advisories to talk about, so let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost. Aaron.
Yeah, right now pretty quiet out there before things start to change here as we head into the overnight hours. We've got this northwesterly flow in place, and in that flow we are going to see a disturbance really start to develop and then slide right across the area. Right now, just a couple of isolated snow showers here and there across west central Montana, but again, that radar will start to fill in here overnight tonight. Here's a look at where those winter weather advisories are in place. They begin at 11 o'clock tonight and will last into Friday afternoon for most areas, the whole Highway 93 corridor through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for about 1 to 3 inches potentially. As the day goes on, temperatures will warm and we'll start to see a rain-snow mix, but an even more potent system could be looming. Details coming up.
Insurance claims are soaring for last year's wildfires in California's wine country, now totaling just under $12 billion. That makes the fires the most expensive ever in the state, higher than the top 10 most expensive fires in the past combined. More than 32,000 homes and 4,300 businesses were destroyed, with 45 people losing their lives. The previous record fire in California was the Oakland Hills fire back in 1991, where losses were $2 billion. The reward for information about a missing Browning woman is now up to $10,000. Ashley Loring, who goes by the name of Ashley Heavy Runner, was last seen in Browning last summer. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is now offering a $5,000 reward for information into Ashley's disappearance. Also, the Blackfeet Tribal Council was offering a $5,000 reward. Anyone with information should contact law enforcement.
Grant funds are often a hard thing to come by for schools. The application process alone is daunting. But a group of teachers in Clinton, they were able to overcome those obstacles, receiving a new grant this morning.
MTN's Connor McCauley shows us how that money is going to benefit the district and students.
The Montana Comprehensive Literacy Project's goal is to provide schools with resources to help children improve their reading skills. Thursday, Clinton School found out it is one of those schools about to receive a big grant to improve their students' literacy.
Mr. Stack had called me into his office to let me know that the Office of Public Instruction had called us to announce that we were one of the 21 schools that received the grant. We would be receiving over the next 4 years $250,000.
The big money is going towards new books for the library and new software and technology to help improve digital literacy too. All things that benefit students eager to learn.
Oh, it is so cool that we got this grant because we have a very small school with a lot of need for improving our literacy skills here at Clinton. We've got a lot of kids that have a lot of heart and a lot of want to do well, and we really are excited to help them succeed with that.
It took a group of dedicated teachers a lot of time to write the grant application with hopes of securing the money. For them, all the hours paid off.
We printed off this grant paperwork, each one of the four of us. I met with them in the library and gave them this packet about this thick of pages that we had to go through, and all four of us just did the...
But luckily for Clinton students, where there's a will, there's a way. Connor McCauley, MTN News, Clinton.
And a special treat awaited students arriving at Bonner School this morning. Inside the library was a chainsaw sculpted wooden bison. Since late November, local artist Ice Rogers took the wood from a tree that had hung in the Bitterroot River area there and crafted it into the bison. The Bonner Development Group purchased the piece of art and donated it to the school. Students were thrilled at the sight of the bison. Faculty members were pretty excited to bring in a piece that could be used as a learning tool as well.
Integrate Native American education into what we do at school. This is going to be really a foundational, kind of an anchor point for that process. I think it's just going to be an excellent teaching tool in that way.
Ice Rogers also sculpted the lumberjack mascot that's located in the Bonner School gymnasium.
Governor Steve Bullock recently announced he's giving away $750,000 worth of grant money to develop and enhance tourism and recreation in 27 Montana communities. One of those communities is in the Flathead. The Glacier Nordic Club of Whitefish received a $51,000 grant that is planning to put toward buying a snowcat groomer to improve their Big Mountain Nordic ski trails. The Big Mountain Nordic ski trails opened this past fall. It's part of the Whitefish Trail system. The Glacier Nordic Club built the new trailhead and access trail in partnership with Whitefish Legacy Partners on land that was donated by Whitefish Mountain Resort. The trailhead accesses 23 kilometers of trails that are groomed by the Glacier Nordic Club. The president of the club tells us getting a groomer is really going to help out with tourism in the winter and continue to get more Nordic fans to the Flathead Valley. It is amazing how a simple saliva test can reveal secrets to our past, our heritage, our culture. The genetic testing market is an $11 billion a year industry with an explosion of at-home genetic tests that you can buy on your computer. And it's not just about discovering your ethnic roots. Tests today are taking it one step further by determining if you are at a higher risk for breast cancer or Alzheimer's. Those are tests that until recently cost thousands of dollars, but now you can buy them for as little as $100. It's the kind of information that can be life-altering. So, should you trust your future health to an inexpensive DNA test that you bought on the internet?
It does concern me for a number of reasons. So, a positive result, when you can just order a kit online, what are you going to do with those results? Where's your care team? So who are you going to confide in?
Those are just some of the questions you need to ask. Tonight at 10, I go on special assignment to take a closer look at why we're seeing more of these DNA test kits on the market and what one local cancer doctor thinks about this available technology.
Coming up, we'll take an in-depth look at the future of coal strip and how the eastern Montana community is preparing for an uncertain future. That's coming up on KPAX.